Hello everyone, welcome back to the session of English. In this session, we are going to begin a new topic that is very interesting, that is determiners. Now, this is part 1. In this session, we will discuss introduction to determiners, then types of determiners, and then characteristics of determiners. Now, determiners is very important topic for anyone who wants to take any competitive exam. Also, if you want to speak in English fluently, these determiners are very important for you all. How? Now, when we begin the syllabus of English language, we must have heard about a chapter that is noun. This is a very basic chapter which you have learned in your childhood as well. In fact, you have been learning nouns since your childhood. So, this is a basic topic but important. So, determiners are just the modifiers which modify nouns. And to modify nouns, we have already learned two more parts of a speech or two more words. What were the words? That is adjective and other is article. So we have read these two chapters as well. One is adjective and other one is articles that we have already learned in our English syllabus. Now, these two words or these two chapters or these two things also modify or qualify noun. Then what is about determiners? Basically, adjectives or articles both can be the parts of determiners, but there is a difference between determiner and adjective. Though all the three articles that we read are the parts of determiners, it means you can say that article is equal to determiners, but adjective and determiners are just similar. You can say these are similar, but these are not accurately equal. How? Well, here we are not going to study mathematics like we do congruency and other chapters in similarity in mathematics. But here we are going to just analyze the difference between determiners and adjectives. Basically, determiners are those words which behaves like an article or adjective. Now, the introduction. Let us see the definition of determiners. Determiners are words placed before a noun. Now, this thing is very important. A determiner can only be placed before a noun, but that doesn't mean only before the noun. But this is important that the noun is important over there. It means noun should be there in the sentence, and determiner is going to qualify the noun only. But there can be few more combinations. How? We can have determiner, then noun. We can also have determiner plus noun. We can also have a combination of determiner plus adjective plus noun. So we can have several combinations in which we can have determiner, then adjective, then noun. Another one we can have determiner, then noun, and in the another one we have determiner plus noun. Now this is only the word which can be used with itself, or you can say two determiners can be used together. Now that makes it different from adjective. How? Because two adjectives cannot be used together to qualify each other, but determiners can be. How? For example, if I say that few friends. Now, few friends, in this structure or in this phrase, we can see that friends are noun and few is determiner. Also, if I say few good friends. Now, in this structure, we can see friends noun, good adjective, and few determiner. Now, if I say very few friends, so in this structure we can have friends noun, few determiner. Very is also a determiner. Many friends. Now, in this, many is determiner and friends is noun. So, there can be various combinations. We will discuss that later on while we were discussing the difference between determiners and adjectives. But that is the part that will be discussed later on. Now, noun, to make it clear what the noun refers to. It means what exactly that this noun refers to is determined by the determiners. Determiners are actually the determining words, or actually the words which are indicating or which are specifying or non-specifying a noun. They can denote specifics like quantity or possession, or can indicate whether a noun is definite or indefinite. So, as we have already learned a chapter that is article, in that case, we learned that a noun can be definite or indefinite. And for that, we use articles. Similarly, we have determiners, or you can say determiners or articles are the parts of determiners only. Well, let's discuss this thing also. So, we have several types of determiners. First type is articles. Now, we know well that articles are the part of determiners, and article is a word or a single word which can be used before a noun. And for this as well, we need a noun necessarily, because if there is no noun in the sentence, there is no use of article. If we want to use an article, a noun is compulsory to be there in that sentence to which this article qualify. Now, these are the most common determiners. They include two types, that is definite article and another is indefinite article. Now, what is definite article? Basically, definite article is the, used with a specific noun or nouns. Now, what happens whenever we use article the? It can be used before a countable noun, before an uncountable noun, before singular noun, as well as plural noun. So, the is a type of article which can be used with any of these, but that noun which we are talking about, or those nouns which we are talking about, should be particular, or should be made specific. How? For example, if I say students in general, there is only students. For example, I can say these are students, or students are playing over there. So we are talking about any type of students or any students. But if I say the students of class 10th are playing there, it means I'm making those students particular. It means I'm saying about those students only who are playing, who belong to class 10th. So there I'm making, or I'm specifying the students. I'm making the students specific. In that case, we can use the before the students. Otherwise, we don't. Now, if I say uncountable, for example, if I say water is essential for life, so I'm talking about water in general sense. But if I say the water of this river is pure, or is believed to be pure, so in this case, I'm talking about not only water, but I'm talking about the water of only this river, or specifically of this river. In this case, I can add the before water. Otherwise, it is not required. Now, singular noun, for example, if I say man is mortal, so, but that is another case. Oh, well, that we'll discuss later on. Suppose I say that a man is standing there, so that man is any man. But if I say the man who you saw in the market is my father, so it means I'm talking about only that particular man that you saw, or whom you saw. So that is particular man which has been talked about. Before that, we can use the. But if I say a man is standing there, it means that it can be any man. It is not specific at all. So before that, we cannot use the, but before any specific noun, we can use the. So the is an article, or is a definite article which can be used before a countable noun, an uncountable noun, a singular noun, or it can be used before a plural noun as well, before plural nouns as well. Now let us move to the next one. Now, for example, the dog is barking. It means I'm talking about a particular dog only, that particular dog is barking. Now, there are indefinite articles as well. Indefinite articles are a and n. Basically, what we do, a and n can be used before only a singular noun, which is not specific, because we are not making that particular noun specific. We are not making any noun specific over there. And we can only talk about one, because a and n generally behaves like an adjective one. That is, we are only talking about a single person, or a single thing, or a single unit of anything. So when we refer to one, that means we are saying a or an. For example, if I say an apple, it means I'm talking about one apple only. If I say a pan, it means I'm talking about any pan, but only one pen. So there I can use a pan. Now, what happens? We can have two types of words. One beginning with a vowel. Vowel means A, E, I, O, U. You must have heard these 5 letters since your childhood. Now, one more thing. This is only vowel. It, basically, we pronounce this word as vowel, but it is actually pronounced as vowel. So we have 5 vowels in all, that is A, E, I, O, U. Now, what happens? Suppose a word begins with a vowel. For example, apple. So it is beginning with the vowel. Also, it is beginning with the vowel sound. Actually, the sound matters. The pronunciation and the sound matters. Not only that the word is beginning with the vowel, that matter. No. What matters actually? The beginning sound. If I pronounce this word like apple, so apple is actually AE sound, that is covering the vowel structure only. But if I say university, now in this word you can say, if we pronounce this word, it is university. Now if I just think of this spelling university, that I will say u. But is this a vowel, or is this a beginning with vowel? No, not at all. Well, it also depends on if you have heard about Hindi Varnmala. And there are two structures in Hindi Varnmala, that is Swar and Vyanjan. So it depends on that as well. For example, if any word begins with, for example, if I write this word in Hindi, suppose this is just an example. This is not I'm teaching you Hindi, but I'm just giving you some example. For example, if I write this word in Hindi, it will be like university. This will be the structure, uni, and that. So it is beginning with U, which is Vyanjan according to Hindi Varnmala or according to Hindi alphabet. So in that case, we will use A before it because the beginning sound is a consonant sound. The beginning sound is a consonant sound. Also, if you write this in English, any kind of spelling which is according to the pronunciation, that will be Y-O-U. That will be structure of Y. So it will be a consonant sound. So for a consonant sound, we basically use A, but for a vowel sound, we use N. Now, if I take another example as umbrella. So if I write this word umbrella, so if I just go for the spelling according to pronunciation, it will be somewhere like It is beginning with A, that is swar in Hindi alphabet. So A is a swar. So this A, therefore this word will be preceded by uh, an indefinite article N, because this is basically beginning with a vowel sound. So we'll use N before it, not A. For example, she is a teacher. Now, teacher, here I'm talking about any teacher. She is not a particular teacher. She is any teacher. So, a is used just before teacher because it is just saying as the profession, nothing else than that. So, it is not specified which teacher. Now, demonstratives. So here we have only learned about indefinite articles. That what are indefinite articles? We are just talking about in general sense. For example, she has an umbrella. So any umbrella it can have. So let us proceed and let us read something else. And this we will elaborate in later sessions. Now, what are demonstratives? These point to and indicate a noun or a pronoun. They include this, that, these, those. Now, what happens? We have 4 words: this, that, these, those. Now, what happens? That these are demonstrative adjectives and they can be demonstrative pronouns as well. But only demonstrative adjectives can be called determinants. How? Because if any word qualifies a noun, it is a determiner. Now, this and that are used for singular noun only. It means after these we can only have singular noun, and because we have only singular noun, so we'll use a singular verb with these. But these and those are plural words, so they will be followed by plural noun as well as plural form of verb. For example, this book is mine. Now you can see over here that this book, this is singular and book is singular noun. I like those shoes. Now shoes are plural noun and I'm using those, that is also plural. So if we use this, that, these, those with nouns, they can be singular and plural according to the structure of the words. So these are called demonstratives because we are indicating something. For example, if I say this is a pen, it means I'm talking about this pen. I'm pointing out this pen. I'm indicating this pen. So what I'm indicating to or what I'm referring to, there is that word which I'm using to indicate, that word is known as demonstratives. Now, demonstrative means to demonstrate something, to point out, to indicate something. Now, let us move further. Possessives. Now, possessives, what they do, indicate ownership or association. When we associate something with another thing, or when we indicate the ownership of something else, the possessive demonstratives are used. Now, what are possessive demonstratives? They include my, your, his, her, its, are, their. For example, that is my car. Now, car is a noun, and here my, this is determiner, or you can say possessive. Now, two things are there. There can be two types of possessive case. We have two types of possessive case. What are these two cases? Let us discuss. We can have either a possessive adjective, or we can have a possessive pronoun. Now, what is the difference between possessive adjective and possessive pronoun? Let us see. For I, we can use my as an adjective and mine as pronoun. For we can use our as adjective and ours as pronoun. Now, for he, we can use his or his. Means his is both, is same in both cases. Then we have she. So for she, we can use possessive adjective, that is her, and hers as a pronoun. For it, we can only have its, that is an adjective. For you, we can either have your or yours as pronoun. So both of these words are possessives, but your is a possessive adjective, whereas yours is a possessive pronoun. Now, what happens? If I say that is my car, now car is a noun, and before car, we can only use adjective or a determiner. So this is a possessive adjective, or we can also call it possessive determiner. But if I say that car is mine, now look at this sentence carefully. The meaning of both these sentences is same. But if I say that car is mine, now you can say that car is a noun and it is being qualified with the word that. Now that is here a demonstrative determiner or a demonstrative adjective, but it cannot be called a possessive noun. Sorry, a possessive adjective or possessive determiner. Why? Because it is not showing the ownership of this car. It is just indicating that we are talking about this car only. And is mine. Now this mine is showing the possession over here. But this mine is a pronoun, not an adjective or not a determiner. So this is just a pronoun, which is showing the possession, but it is not followed by a noun. Therefore, this is a pronoun, not an adjective, nor a neither. You can say neither an adjective nor a determiner. So, if a word showing possession is followed by a noun, yes, of course, it is either a determiner or an adjective. But if it is not followed by a noun, it means it is a pronoun, neither a determiner nor an adjective. That's it. So we can have various words. So these adjectives basically are determiners. Now let us move to the next one. Now we have quantifiers. Now quantifiers shows the quantity of something. Now here the question arises that about a noun, that a noun is either countable or a noun is uncountable. So noun can be of two types. It is either countable or uncountable. Now what happens if there is a noun and it is either countable or it is uncountable? So we have two structures, one is countable and another is uncountable. Now what happens? Countable nouns are those nouns which we can count in terms of 1, 2, 3 and so on. For example, if I say 3 girls are there, so I can count them 1, 2, 3. If I say girls, obviously they are countable because I can count them 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. For pens, I can count them. For stars, of course, I can count them. For example, I can say that there are 7 stars in Ursa Major or Saptarishi. So, of course, I can count them. But if something is uncountable, for example, water is there. It can be measured, but it cannot be counted. We cannot say like 1 water, 2 water. No, not at all. It can be said that is 1 liters of water or 1 glass of water. So, water is not countable. It is uncountable. So noun can be of two types, either countable or uncountable. Now what happens? There are quantifiers. What? If something tells about the quantity of something, it means that is uncountable. It cannot be counted. So that is known as quantifier. How? Provide information about the number of items or amount of something. For example, some, any, many, much, a lot of, a few, a little, several, enough, all, both, half. Now what happens? One thing is there. We have number or we have just a quantity or amount. For example, something is there which can be definite or indefinite. If it is countable, you can say it can have both the structures. It is actually in the number form. But if it is uncountable, suppose there are two structures. Let us see, definite and indefinite. Now what is this definite and indefinite? If I say that I have many pens, let us see this. I have many pens. Now we know well that pens are countable and we are saying many. Well, many is used with countable nouns. So these nouns are countable nouns. But the word many, is there any specific number behind this word many? Can you tell me how many pens are there? If I'm just saying many, can you tell me how many they are? Are they 5? Are they 4? Are they 100? Or how much? How many? No one knows. So this is indefinite structure. So this is indefinite structure. Now, if I say much money, now again, this money is uncountable now. Money is uncountable now. Now again, I'm saying much. Can you tell me how much? How much money I'm talking about? No, not at all. All money is uncountable. This much is again indefinite. This is not definite at all. But if I say I have 5 pens, now here 5 pens are countable, but these are 5. So these are definite. These are not indefinite. These are 5. These are definite. We know definitely that how many pens we are talking about. We are talking about 5 pens. It means these are definite. And if these are definite, so this is the difference between definite and undefinite. There is a difference between countable and uncountable. Similarly, there is a difference between definite and indefinite. Definite, in definite case, you can exactly show the number, whereas in indefinite case, you cannot show the number exactly. So we can say that if the words are quantifiers or if the determinants are quantifiers, they can be used with countable as well as uncountable noun, but there is no definiteness of anything. Those nouns are not definite at all. So we can classify it on the basis of definite or indefinite nouns. Now, I have several pens. Now, how many pens? We don't know, but several. It means some pens are there. So this is countable noun and we are using several. So with countable noun, we use few, many and several. So these 3 words are used with countable nouns only. So these are used with countable nouns only. Whereas if we talk about much, now there are some words like some. So some can be used with both countable as well as uncountable. For example, we can say some cake is uncountable, so we are using some. But if I say some boys, that is also correct. So there are a few words which can be used with both the types of nouns, whether countable, uncountable, singular, plural, or not. So some is a type of word which can be used with countable as well as uncountable nouns. So she ate some cake. So the some is a word which is being used before an uncountable noun. We can also use some boys. This is also correct. So some is a word which can be used with countable noun as well as uncountable noun. But there is one thing to be kept in mind. What? If a noun is countable and we are using some before it, it is very important to see that this countable noun should be in plural form only. How? Let us take an example. Suppose I say, I have some pen. Now, is this a logical sentence? Is the sentence correct? Maybe in some form, but if I say, I have some pen. Now, pens, if the word is pens, it is correct. I have some pens because pens are countable. And some is used to show something which is in plural. But if I say, I have some pen, that is incorrect. But if I say, I have some work. Now, because work is uncountable, so we can use some before it. Work is uncountable. We are using it in singular form only because uncountable nouns are always considered singular. We are using some before it, and now the some word is absolutely correct with the noun work, because this noun cannot be made plural, and some can be used with countable as well as uncountable noun. So if some is used with a countable noun, that means that countable noun should be plural. But if it is used with an uncountable noun, that means that uncountable noun is singular always. So this is how we use these words. Now these are quantifiers. Now let us move to the next one. Numbers. Now when we show the numbers exactly, it means we are talking about definite countable nouns. We are talking about definite countable nouns. Whereas in case of quantifiers, we are talking about indefinite nouns, whether they are countable or uncountable. So this is how we use quantifiers and numbers. Quantifiers are generally used with indefinite nouns, whereas numbers are used with definite nouns. These are also considered determiners when they specify the quantity of nouns. I have 2 cats. Now I can specify that I'm talking about only 2 cats are there. So I can count them. They are countable. Also, they are definite in number. So when we use definite countable nouns, we use number determiners, or when we use indefinite nouns, whether countable or uncountable, we use quantifiers. Now let us move to the next one. Now we have distributives. Well, we will just elaborate these determiners in our next session, but in this session we are just discussing these words in brief. Refer to individual members of a group. They include each, every, either, neither. Each student was given a book. Now, student is a singular noun, and before which we are using it, each. So, each is qualifying this word student, which is a singular noun. Now, each represents each and every person, or a single person individually, or every person individually. Now, we have some interrogative determiners. What are these? Well, we will elaborate these determiners in our later session. Now, these are interrogative determiners used with nouns to ask questions. What, which, whose. Now, there is one more thing. If an interrogative determiner is there, it should be followed by a noun only. For example, if I say whose pen is this, so you can see over here that pen is a noun and we are using whose, which is asking the question about this pen. So, whose is an interrogative determiner. Now, how can we further categorize these interrogative determiners? That we will discuss in our later sessions. Now let us move to difference determiners used to express contrasts. For example, other and another. So here we can have some examples. I don't like this shirt. So I'm talking about this shirt. Do you have another one? So I'm asking for another one. So this another is again a determiner. Now we have some characteristics of determiner. What are the characteristics of determiner? First thing about determiners that they add detail or clarity. Determiners provide specific information about the noun they accompany. For instance, a dog is a general statement, whereas the dog specifies a particular dog. Now, if I say I saw a dog, it can be any dog. But if I say I saw the dog yesterday, it means I'm talking about the particular dog. It means maybe possible there. Suppose there are two friends. Let us take a case study. There are two friends, A and B, and they are talking about a dog or a specific breed of a dog. Now, this person A is asking B, have you ever seen this breed of dog? She will say, yes, I saw the dog yesterday. It means he's talking about a particular dog only. So she's replying that yes, I saw the dog yesterday. It means they are talking about a particular dog only. But if I say, have you ever seen a lion? Yes, maybe possible. Some of you say, yes, I have seen a lion. It means there can be any lion which we are talking about. So that can be any lion. So there is any. For any, we use indefinite article, but for some specific one, we use the. So there is the characteristic which basically this is the characteristic of determiner that makes that particular noun or that noun either particular or any. So they add detail or clarity. Now, what is another? That is position. Determiners are typically placed before the noun of or the adjective that modifies the noun. So, as I told you before as well, there can be various structures of using determiners in a sentence. We can have determiner plus noun. We can also have determiner plus adjective plus noun. We can also have determiner plus noun, and there can be various structures as well. For instance, in the phrase those beautiful shoes, now you can see over here shoes is noun, beautiful is adjective, and those are determiners. Those is the determiner. If I say those shoes, now in this case shoes are noun and those are determiners. If I say those few shoes, so in that case those few shoes. Now here you can see that shoes are noun, few are determiners, and those are also determiners. So there can be various structures of placing determiners before noun. Now let us move to the next one. But here one thing should be kept in mind, that noun is mandatory to be there in the sentence. They never stand alone. Determiners cannot stand alone. As I told you, just they always precede a noun. It means they can only be used before a noun. It means noun is mandatory to be there. So you can here say noun is mandatory to be there in the sentence to which this determiner qualify. So this is mandatory. A noun should be there to use that determiner. Now there have another characteristic of determiner, that is determiners must agree in number and sometimes in gender with the nouns they modify. For instance, in English you would say this apple but these apples. So as you can see over here, it is written apple because there is only one apple. So I'm saying this, so this can be used with singular. But if I say apples, you cannot say this apples, or you cannot say these apple. They should agree with the word which is qualifying it. So these apples, but this apple. So they can agree with each other. They should agree. Now, understanding when and how to use determiners can significantly improve clarity in both written and spoken English. For instance, saying I saw birds is different from I saw the birds. If I say I saw birds, it means I'm talking about any birds, whatever. But if I say I saw the birds, it means I'm talking about a particular group only, or the birds of a particular group only. The former means the first one or the prior to it, suggests you saw some birds, but not specific ones. The latter implies you saw particular birds that both the speaker and listener are aware of. So these are some characteristics of determiners. In this session, we have already discussed the definition and the concept of determiners. Also, we discussed types of determiners and the usage of these determiners. In our later sessions, we will elaborate these types of determiners. I hope you understood all of these. Thank you very much.